Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Jim Jordan just destroys Kathy Hochul. What he has to say leaves her completely speechless. Let's dive in.
Governor, who's Jesus Romero Hernandez?
Thank you. I want to reaffirm that we do cooperate in cases where...
That wasn't a question. I just read your statement. I can read your statement. Who is Jesus Romero Hernandez?
I don't have the details on every
I'll
single
tell you.
person in a state of 20 million people.
I understand, but this guy's a citizen of Mexico, deported 7 times, came to your state, assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, then when he was in custody, assaulted a corrections officer. ICE finds out this guy is in your state's custody, and they send you a detainer. You're familiar with a detainer, right?
Yes, I am.
Notice of action, immigration detainer to Tompkins County Jail from Syracuse Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. Section 1, they check a couple boxes. The first one they check is a final order of removal against the alien has taken place. That means a court has said this guy needs to go. This machete-wielding, cop-choking, corrections officer assaulting guy needs to go. Then they also check another box and they say biometric confirmation of who this individual is, this alien's identity. So they got the right guy, and a court has said he needs to go. Any idea what Tompkins County Jail decided to do with that detainer order?
I will tell you this, the state of...
It's a specific question.
No, I'm
what
telling
did Tompkins County do?
the descriptions you have put forth are absolutely chilling and disturbing and
course they are.
reprehensible to all of us. My job is to protect the people
I'm
of
asking
New
the
York.
question. What
And
did Tompkins County do?
What I have responsibility
I will
for
tell you,
are
since you're not going to
state
answer,
courts,
we
state
cannot
police.
and will not hold Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah.
We can't keep the machete guy who had choked a police officer and assaulted a corrections officer. We can't keep him. In fact, we have the back and forth from Tompkins County and ICE on January 28th of this year, 8:56 p.m. Tompkins County tells ICE, we're not going to hold this guy. 7 minutes later, ICE responds back, we will be there to take custody this evening. 24 minutes later, Thompson County reiterates, we're not going to have him. We're not going to turn him over. 10:45. ICE arrives at the jail. 1 hour and 18 minutes later, and guess what? Mr. Hernandez is not there. They couldn't wait 1 hour and 18 minutes for a guy who assaulted one of your residents with a machete, choked a police officer, and then when in custody, assaulted corrections officers. That is sanctuary policy in a nutshell, and that is what your state supports, and so do these other governors. That is what is so wrong, why the American people hate this concept.
You're conflating what the state of New York does is I control state police and prisons. We have turned over 1,300 people.
So you disagree with it?
We turn over 1,300
Did the sheriff make the
people.
wrong call?
Those are local policies that we would not have done in the state of New York. State of New York, that is
So
a
you're
local
saying the sheriff's
decision.
wrong?
I would say this, if it happened in a state prison, we have already turned over 1,300 people.
Sheriff
in
in
fact,
Tompkins County,
I
a
want to say
Democrat or
this.
Republican, Governor?
There
Hochul?
have
You any
been
idea?
times, excuse
The
me,
sheriff in Thompson County, a Democrat or Republican?
excuse me, there have
No,
been
excuse me,
times
I
when-
ask the questions, you give the
Well, I'm
answer. Is he a
asking
Democrat or
for a
Republican? Do
second.
you know?
I'm asking for this moment to explain that I'm sometimes waiting
I'm
for
asking,
ICE
is he a
to come
Democrat
pick
or
up
Republican,
people.
and do you agree
I
with the
believe
actions
he's a
he
Democrat.
took? Do you agree with the actions he took? How about that question?
They are in conflict with what the state of New York would do.
Well, maybe they're scared. By the way, he is a Democrat sheriff. Maybe the county guys are a little scared because you said this. I'm quoting from, it looks like the New York Times. We all know you can trust them. This is last month, May 25th. You said we have some counties that are renegade counties and work with ICE. Maybe they're nervous of being called a renegade county by their governor. So the Democrat sheriff says, we're not going to keep the machete-wielding, cop-choking, corrections officer assaulting guy. We're not going to keep him here for you to get here. We can't even wait an hour and 18 minutes. Oh, you know what else was interesting in this case? You know what else was interesting? There was actually an arrest warrant from United States District Court, Northern District of New York, signed by Judge Wiley Danks, magistrate from Syracuse. There was an arrest warrant, and they still couldn't keep him.
The state of New York cooperates. We cooperate in removal of individuals who've served time. We respond to detention. You're confusing, and maybe there's a lesson in civics here that's
necessary. On the
necessary.
record right here, I got 12 seconds. Will you say on the record, was Tompkins County wrong in the actions they took on January 25th 2025 when they wouldn't hold the guy for 1 hour and 18 minutes. Was
Those are
Tompkins
not the
County
policies
wrong?
that we would have in the state of
No,
New
no,
York. Those
but-
are not the policies we would have in a.
Were they wrong? Should
Because
they,
I've
should
already
they have turned
said
that guy over to ICE? It's a
I've-
simple question, Governor.
that was a horrible situation. The person should not have been out there. And
It's a horrible situation, but it's a yes or no question.
it is a response that this is a locality.
Do you agree or
in the
disagree?
state of New York,
Agree or
the person
disagree?
should have been held.
Yes or no?
The person should have been held, and in the state of New York, we would have turned him over. That is in conflict with what we would do as a state
appreciate
with
the chair's
respect to
indulgence. I
prison.
yield back.
And I want to know why ICE won't come and pick up the individuals who have served time in our state. I have cases where they have not even shown
Governor,
up.
a court order and a detainer for a guy who did the things Mr. Hernandez did, and Tompkins County can't hold him an hour and 18 minutes, and you won't say that's wrong?
I have said we cooperate when there's a criminal case where someone has committed a
This is
crime. We
sanctuary
turn them
policy.
over.
This is sanctuary policy in a nutshell. You won't even
You're
condemn something that anyone
mischaracterizing.
with common sense knows is ridiculous.
You're mischaracterizing the
Chair,
laws of the state
I
of
had the
New York.
facts here.
That's
Oh,
all
can I
right.
do one other thing, Mr. Chairman? Now he's been rearrested, and guess what? This guy who's now been rearrested, there is imminent danger that this inmate will do injury
give
to
him a
himself and
minute.
to others and presents a threat to safety, security, and good order of the facility, so he's not permitted to leave his cell. So this guy is not even allowed out of his cell, but they let him out on the street a few months ago. That's how ridiculous this is.
When he does leave his cell, it'll be go back to his
Gentlemen,
country under our
time's
orders.
expired.
of torture.
Chair recognizes Mr. Mfume, and I'll give you an extra minute.
This isn't just about taking basic responsibility here, which Democrats won't do because they're best at deflecting, they're best at denying. And so, apparently, this story is wild because an inmate, an illegal immigrant who has kept on coming back into the United States, who has had an incredibly violent record, a Democrat sheriff refused to hold him in a cell and wait for ICE to come and pick him up. And Kathy Hochul has the gall to sit there and say, well, my rhetoric really doesn't matter. Well, this is a local issue. Well, there's an excuse here, there's an excuse there. I'm sorry. I think it's official. When it comes to illegal immigration, Democrats have lost their ever-loving minds. You can't tell me that you can run a state effectively, particularly a state that's as weird as New York. And when I say weird, I'm quite literally talking in geological terms here. It's highly mountainous for the majority of the state, one truly big city and two smaller ones in Buffalo and Albany. It's full of incredibly rich, insulated, wealthy white liberals, and they don't run themselves effectively or properly. There's a whole bunch of people in upstate New York who knows that what goes on in their state is nonsense, and they're powerless to stop it. We're seeing these sort of problems all over Democrat states across the country. California, New Mexico, Illinois, Minnesota's crazy, although they somehow run themselves effectively. Although Minneapolis and St. Paul probably aren't anywhere on the top of my list to visit anytime soon, considering what they let on in their towns. We have seen time and time again that Democrat-ran states just keep on getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And now you have the political drip from the senators all the way down to the sheriffs having these weird opinions, these weird policies that do nothing but harm their own constituents. Now, it is possible that in this instance, having this dude as an inmate was just not a good thing. It might have been something that would overwhelm a small jail, perhaps. But I'm not buying that. When it comes to rhetoric does have consequences. Democrats know that better than Republicans do. Republicans, for so long, have always sort of tiptoed around their own rhetoric, their own ideals, their own ideas, because they're terrified, at least historically, of being misconstrued in the media. Well, Donald Trump has helped cut through all of that. We don't have to worry about that nonsense anymore, because now we can go directly to you. All right, this is what YouTube is for. This is what Twitter is for. We no longer have to rely on mainstream media who will spin something way out of control and put so much English on it that the curveball starts out at eye level, ends up in the dirt. Eventually, people are going to stop swinging at that pitch, and that's what's happening now. And so Jim Jordan is calling out Kathy Hochul here, which, by the way, I have come across evil a couple of times in my young life. Kathy Hochul might be the most evil politician I've ever seen. This woman has quite literally disturbed me to my core. I don't think I've seen evil like this since Harry Reid passed on to the underworld. And man, she's sitting there thinking that she's going to get away with it because she knows she is. She has gotten away with being one of the worst governors in American history. And she's sitting there with this weird look on her face, basically begging Jim Jordan to go one step too far so she can feel good about herself when she goes to sleep tonight. I think that's the only way that she can. She knows what she has been doing is wrong. She knows that now it's time to pay the piper and come before Congress and basically admit before the entire United States that her state is out of control. She's not taking any responsibility for the problems. There are illegal immigrant issues and crime issues in New York that are just getting worse and worse and worse. And she's sitting there with a smug look like, I know I'm going to get reelected. I know my constituents love me. There's nothing you can do to harm me. And I will win this little exchange. And it does not matter about the truth. It does not matter about the facts. It does not matter about the ill that she has done to her own constituents, because for some insipid reason, a whole lot of Democrats like what she's doing. I think that's the scariest thing about this whole situation. It's not the fact that I think Kathy Hochul is basically in the background wherever she walks, Witchy Woman is playing, and you can smell the sulfur and you can hear the clickings of her cloven hooves. No. What disturbs me the most is that people saw that and thought it was a good thing. Kathy Hochul might be the most evil governor in America right now, and she's going before Congress, strutting around like a peacock with this weird grin on her face. This isn't just wild. This is something that is deeply, deeply hurtful to the soul of America and to my own, for that matter. But Jim Jordan's 100% right. He is completely right. His criticism is correct. Why is her state like this? Why do Democrats go to these weird lengths? What is in the water in New York, okay? Someone tell me that Albany has like an extra high level of fluoridation or something, because that might explain some of this, but it doesn't explain why she's been advocating for policies that hurt her own constituents, that allow illegal migrants to basically run to the state of New York, live there often at either NGO or taxpayer dime, and then cause these unspeakable crimes. And then, I think the worst part about this whole thing, at least in her case, is the fact that she's trying to pawn it off as a local issue. It's not. Her rhetoric has consequences. Her policies have consequences. These things do indeed trickle down. And now they're hurting the smaller areas of New York State, and it's causing people to be put back out on the streets that do not need to be there, and it's making America worse and darker. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politibrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Until then, y'all have a good one.